You must know that first. Can't nothing and nobody fade what we trying to do and what we about to do. Second thing is, we got this game on our level. You understand what I'm saying?
Yo, welcome to another episode of In Space. I'm your host, Chris Connor, as always, brought to you by Boot Krewe Media, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook, the good people in New York life. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment what you like, what you don't like. You see the drop back here. One of these days I'm gonna go through like all the stuff that's up here. Some of it is in the way because I ain't got it set up the way my girl probably told me to. But yeah, but nah, man, let's get into it. So the title, everything has to be better. And I mean, I know like might be listening like, no shit, Chris, like, yeah, everything has to, yeah, but Pelicans have 14 games left. They have a game against the Lakers. We talk enough about these games. We know what this matchup means to the city. We know what the Lakers coming in town, players and all, means for even the players. Just the intensity is different. The intensity is different for some Pelicans players that are currently listed and some former Pelicans players that come in. It just, the electricity in the city. I happened to be in the city for the last game that was in New Orleans. And I mean, I didn't even go to the game, but you could just feel people tense, right? It was a game that, at the time, I think the Pelicans were like in the 7th spot or something like that. And the Lakers were still in 13th, but it felt like these two teams were in the middle of a playoff game or a playoff series. That's just how it is at this point when these two teams get together. But everything needing to get better goes beyond just this matchup for this team, this franchise, simply going forward, right? Man, I talked about it a lot in the recap the other night about just where the fan base was at coming into this season. And simply that alone, right? Because when the season started and you get into number one seed in the West, like no matter where the fan base was before, your team's the best in the Western Conference for a period of time. I mean, after I think that was December, people are going to be excited and happy and proud. But the team won 35, 36 games, and it was some of the most fun shit that you could really imagine, which is crazy. It's hard to tell a regular person or maybe a team like a Lakers fan, right? There's championships. Like, yeah, man, I know y'all got them rings, though, but look, like the year we won 36 games was one of the most fun times I had as a fan. Like, but that's what it was. And whether you point at spaces, whether you point at the watch parties, the different personalities that they pulled up, the way the media turned, the marketing, the just all the different content and fun that showed up and that has still been present since, the momentum was high, man. People bought in, and some that were on the fence was right there ready to buy in. And it felt like the way that the season started, Pelicans were really capitalizing on all of it. And no matter what you point at, man, I mean, you could point at injuries, you can point at coaching, you can point at front office decisions, non-decisions, the roster, mentalities, whatever the case may be, sophomore slumps. The Pelicans right now are currently 2 games under 500. And hell, these next 6 games can possibly determine the rest of their season. So for that to go the way that we all want it to go, right? I mean, I know Boot Krewe Media lately, I don't know, like what's people's fascination with this now, but it's like, I don't get how you get to a point to where people look at you aiming to be objective for a team you've been watching for 20 years is viewed as like negative, or you don't want the team to win. Like, bro, I don't play for this damn team. Like, it's not, I don't need my opinion to be right for me to be happy about the team. Because if this team were the New Mexico Pelicans, or they were the Wyoming Pelicans, if they moved to Nevada tomorrow, I'm probably out. I'm probably gonna hope that the New Orleans invest into a cricket team somewhere or baseball or something, because New Orleans is the attachment for me. It's the attachment for a lot of you guys that are watching. That's why we really here. So I don't want these motherfuckers to fail. I don't want my opinion to be to hold high over what this team does. You know what I'm saying? Like it's 20 years of this, bro. Like, and counting. So the ultimate goal, regardless, is to see this team win however they can do it. And right now, they're in a situation where they haven't been doing a lot of it lately. But since Zion's went out, and it's my opinion, and I know Five wrote an article about it when Larry Nance was in the spaces. We talked about identity. We talked about just what is their identity, period. And maybe a better question would have been, I didn't think about the time, maybe the question would have been, what is this team's identity since Zion has went out? Because when Zion was healthy, yeah, you got a chance to see a generational talent, 100%. You got a chance to see him play MVP style basketball, and a lot of individuals were affected positively for that. Some individuals had career highs just based off of Zion's gravity. That's just how it is with generational talents. We see it all the time for a bunch of different teams around this league, specifically in basketball. But with that, when they were winning and they were playing well, the ball was moving. Everybody was locked in. It felt like defensively, sure, you had a little bit more flexibility with the way that Zion was playing on both sides of the floor, but it felt like you had so many different individuals that were going to be able to beat you, and they were playing above their means. Well, you lose Zion, and then there's a period when Brandon isn't back. He finally comes back. You don't have that same feel. Now, certain guys don't have the same rhythm, the same swagger that they had when one was out there. They start to struggle. Confidence starts to creep down. And now, even though the parts are similar to the team that made the playoffs last year, and it took Phoenix to six games, they're not the same team. Certain parts on this team either aren't available right now, and I'm talking about Jose. Larry's banged up. Brandon's been in and out, or I think he played 11 straight games or something like that. But point is that they're simply not the same team. They're not clicking the same way. Teams aren't defending them the same way. They're attacking their weaknesses and stalling the Pelicans. And depending on the night, there may not be the right counter that's available. And if the energy ain't right, you see a game like the Thunder game, for example. But that's when you say everything has to be better, that's what I'm pointing to. Connecting quarters together. That Dallas game, perfect. The mentality, the identity of that game, if the Pelicans were able to put up that kind of effort, that kind of success for 4 quarters with a healthier team, they'll beat the Lakers tomorrow. They'll beat Houston twice. Houston, who just beat Boston. They'll beat San Antonio that, just beat Denver. They'll beat Charlotte, who's been playing better. And that's not, those aren't prizes at this point, right? The Pelicans are going to be favored in those Houston games by, I would say, over 5, 6, 7 points, or somewhere in that range. Same for Charlotte and San Antonio. But the point is, that Dallas game, they had goals in mind and they stuck to it for the most part. And even when they got away from it, they had played enough good basketball together as a group. It was too much for Dallas to overcome at the end. And CJ McCollum had a tremendous closing. But they had a goal. Luka, we gonna pack the paint and we gonna force these other guys to shoot. Herb is gonna harass you, and we gonna force some other guys to beat us. And they defended well, and then they gang rebound and got in the transition, moved the basketball, and that's why you got a contribution from so many different individuals similar to what worked for them last year and worked for them when they were winning games with a bunch of different people in the lineup earlier in the year, not just alone with Zion. So you're able to put out an effort like that, or like the effort in the beginning of the Golden State game, I think that first quarter, or the second quarter of the Sacramento game, and hell, I mean, all of the Portland game. But it's a mentality, the mindset, the intensity, the things that you can control, they supersede your opponent sometimes. Sometimes you just want it more than the next dude that's out there or the next team that's out there. That goes a long way. And when the Pelicans have won games, that's been the fun thing about this group that people have kind of latched onto, is that like you weren't able to outwork this team. Well, if you're able to be, in a lot of the losses that they've had this year, and even the ones where they have shot themselves in the foot, they've been outworked. They haven't come out with the same level of intensity as the next team in a stretch where every game matters. So, we're talking about, when we say everything has to be better, we're talking about a game plan. We're talking about players. We're talking about availability. We're talking about how they approach the game, and we're talking about them moving the ball. Can't be ball moving one quarter, and then the next quarter the ball is sticking. You can't afford to do that right now, not with some of the things that have been said. And this West Coast, this Western Conference is so psychotic right now, man. Everything is somehow still in reach. The 6th seed and 5th seed, you're 2.5 games out of being in one of those spots, and you're surrounded by a couple of teams that don't even want to be next to you. You play all these teams ahead of you. You play Minnesota, you play Golden State, you play the Clippers. But for them to be able, for the Pelicans to be able to take advantage of these last few weeks going into April. And look, you get on another winning streak, even against some bad teams. Let's say you win, we look up in a week and they've won 4 straight or 5 straight. Well, now you start talking about Zion coming back. Now you're over 500 again. Now you can realistically start talking about what this team can possibly do going into April. The confidence comes back. You don't need 41 points from Trey Murphy every night, but him consistently being able to add things. And look, man, I'm happy. I'm so happy for that dude, man. I've had a bunch of different conversations with his dad, and his mom as well. Happy to see them in the building yesterday. Happy to see Trey drop 41, because I know he puts in the work. And I know sometimes, the teams have made adjustments in how they guard him. Well, now he's making adjustments again. He got to a point in the season of where when teams started closing out on him, he may have been in his head. He may have been trying to stick to what he was told. Nah, bro, he just hooping, playing basketball, pump fakes, side dribbles, side gathers, driving kicks, dribble drives. You're starting to see more of these things slowly linked together. But if it's not, it doesn't have to be 41 points, 15, 7 rebounds. He grabbed 7, the other night. Herb Jones attacking the boards in a similar manner. He had 9 rebounds in that Dallas game, 8 the game after that. And then I think in the Portland game, he ended up with 6, but he's moving the ball. Defensively, he's been spectacular again, but pretty much spectacular all season. And now the jump shot confidence, him strictly not worried about the fact that teams are ignoring him, slowly starting to put together better shooting outputs as well to go with him, attacking him getting to the rim, him getting to the free throw line, just playing like a dude that believe that he belongs again. And that's dope to see. But they're going to need that from everybody. Maybe, it might be a Jonas night. Every night may not look like the Dallas game or look like the Portland game for CJ, where he was really facilitating the basketball really well. Maybe it's Dyson. Maybe it's Jackson again. You're welcoming Larry back. Maybe in a few weeks we're talking about Jose. I'm not, we'll have to see. But guys are gonna have to be out there playing for each other. You're gonna have to have Brandon Ingram back, and then maybe we could be having some better conversations to get some of that optimism back, because the pessimism is creeping back in. People don't want to get too excited because they feel like that they're going, that they're going to be let down. And that's that PTSD that sticks with this fan base. This team, this organization, man, you have these people, a lot of them are still here. You don't want to go into another offseason of indecision, confusion, and just, a question mark to try to figure out the future of this team. Take advantage of what you have in front of you now. And even if it's not the prettiest finish to how it looked when the team was number one in the West, if you find yourself in a six seed, but hell, I'll even take a 7 seed in a home game to get into the playoffs right now. One win at that point. Everything's still on the table, and I think that they have enough, and I think the talent is there for them to make it happen. If everyone is locked in, they apply themselves, and people know what they're playing for, which at the end of the day, more than anything else, is going to take unselfishness and sacrifice. Speaking of sacrifice, our guys here at DraftKings Sportsbook, they have a message for you as March Madness approaches. Ready for the underdogs, the upsets, the unbelievable action from DraftKings Sportsbook. The biggest tournament in college basketball is here right now. New customers can bet just $5 on college hoops and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, for a limited time, all customers can score a no-sweat bet during round 1 and 2 of the tournament. Go to the app, opt in, and place a no-sweat bet this weekend. If it doesn't hit, you'll get a bonus back up to $10. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, sign up with the code BOOT. New customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. If you don't know what that is and you're watching live, it's right there underneath. It's right there. DraftKings, use code BOOT. If you're listening, BOOT. Go ahead and put that bet in, y'all. Turn that 5 into 200. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem, please call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY. Crisis counselor and referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER. Also got to give a shout out to our people at Birdsall Law Firm, right there on Portland Street by the Superdome. If you or anyone that you know have been involved in an accident, please get those people a call, give them a shout out. They're the ones that we go to when we run into our plethora amount of circumstances here at Boot Krewe Media. So shout out to the good people at Birdsall Law Firm. Appreciate y'all as always. I want to hear from you guys in the comments. I want you guys to tell me what do you think has to be better for this team to do well down the stretch and kind of get some winning consistency involved. Not the up and downs, not the long losing streaks, not the pessimism that has creeped back. The overall how do you turn this season into somewhat of a positive, as if you continue to lose a bunch of games, you go on another losing streak, you're talking about a failure, all things considered, no matter who you point at. Appreciate y'all. Get in the comments. Let me know. There will be a Spaces after the Laker game. If you're not familiar with Twitter Spaces, I don't have another minute to really describe it to you, but listen, tap in with me on Twitter, @ImpatientBull. I'll walk you through the steps. It's a fun time. It's a community, and win or loss, we gonna be here to talk our shit, man. So y'all pull up. Speaking of, y'all know how we get out of here.
In the building. I told you last time, get with us. Well, get out of here, man.